This is productive and counterproductive behaviors in the workplace. In the following, there's going to be some scenarios, and then basically this is from a organizational psychologist practitioner approach. We're just gonna see some scenarios with some situations or examples, and we just have to like go with our suggestions for the solutions or also information behind the scenarios. Um, Chapter one, the first question was how have recent historical events affected the course of both research and practice in organizational psychology? And I believe that these three right here are the three main factors that had impact psychology, organizational psychology in this course. Um, to me, DEI, which is diversity, uh, equality, inclusion, COVID-19 and technology have been very um, have been a big influence in the organizational industrial psychology. With DEI, organizations now have, find out that no matter religion, biological sex, gender, ethnicity, you can get positions in the company. Um, and then also a little go back to the COVID-19, the DEI, if we can say programs or organizations such as Black Lives Matter, also like Hispanic movements and stuff like that, it's just something that has impacted the organizational psychology and organizations as a whole, understanding the diversity culture in the workplace. COVID-19, one of the COVID-19 example is that a lot of organizations had to go with resources, basically online resources back in the day, but now you still some examples as interviews still via Zoom, training still via computer, and if the job allows, the work itself can also be done remotely or online. Um, technology is a big factor. As an example, companies like Kia, they have opted for more robots on the assembly line than individuals. So this means that the job that was performed by an individual back in, let's say, 5, 7, 10 years ago, it was like maybe performed by 4 or 5 individuals. Now it's performed by a robot. Now, not all the duties and tasks it's like this, but the company's opted for this because it's kind of like more cost effective. It's just a big investment. But then with individuals, you have to like give them benefits, give them a salary, and then it's just like an ongoing investment on this. So this is kind of like a positive but negative outcomes in in the same way. But this is how recent historical events have impacted organizational and industrial psychology. Diversity, here we go, DEI, the COVID-19, and also AI. Chapter three, let's say we're working as a consultant and the recruitment director from a local university calls and wants to get a more diverse pool of highly qualified faculty applicants. How would you advise them to expand their pool of qualified applicants and what activities, events they should consider of their pool? Well, as a consultant, first I will ask if they have a strategic planning. This means if they know where they are going and also if they know how to get there, right? As a whole, as an organization. Now, if they have a strategic planning, then the next step, I believe, has to be the set of skills. What skills are you looking to fulfill in your organization? What skills are you looking to basically um, bring to the organization for to comply with that highly qualified requirement? Um, and then Also skills from like inside the job, right? If there's some skills, if there's some patterns that you see that brought to is bringing the successful of the organization, then go with that as your requirements, go with that as the things that you want to look for. um Also, a before going, I would say that before going out, just to see outside uh candidates, I would say organizations, this particular case in university, needs to see if there's anyone, looking internal transfers. It is suggested that internal transfers are better for the company in the long run because employees that are hired internally, like, transfer from one position to another, are more highly to stay with the company than employers or individuals that have brought from outside. Instead of For the activities and the events, I would say using platforms such as Indeed or Handshake. These are very good platforms where they can get highly qualified applicants, right, by outline the skills necessaries for the job, um, to help find these qualified individuals. An activity suggested, due to the nature of the work environment, it's a campus recruitment because it's a university looking for highly qualified individuals. And if we go by attraction and selection, some students might feel that the university aligns with what they believe and also with like more of their personality, and they might get more attracted to apply to this university. Now, chapter 4, this is your consulting with a hiring manager that just hire a high performer, and this manager is asking you what they need to do to make sure this person stays happy and works for the company for a while. You respond by getting to know this person and what they need, want, and you specifically talk about reducing work-family conflict. What is some advice you will give to the hiring manager about reducing work-family conflict to ensure this person stays with the organization for as long as possible? Well, before going to the suggestions of maybe reducing work-family conflict, we have to understand that the organization needs to understand that they play a big role on this, right? So they play a major role on reducing the work-family conflict. But there's once this is understood by the organization, then we can move with some factors such as flexibility, right? So as an example, let's say an employee had to pick up a child at a school or something, and then, ask the manager to leave. The manager can imp get ways of flexibility here by allowing the employee to leave a little bit early or leave and then come back. It depends on the work setting. Another thing is if the employee is interested in this, they can go ahead and will go ahead and work remote, right? There are many jobs out there that the job do not require an in-person setting. It can be done online, it can be done remotely, but if the job will not be affected, and if the duties of the job and the task of the job can be done remotely, then allow that for the employee. Another thing, it's going back to first support from the supervisor, right? With that support, reducing work hours, understanding that this person has a life outside the organization. So I believe the support from the supervisors and management in reducing work family conflict, along with these factors, it's a big it will play an important role for the this high performer employee to stay for as long as possible. Now, chapter 5 talks about DSP qualifications. Basically, this is a support. They support direct support services. The job is for a direct support professional. And then chapter 5 talks about is asking us to talk about current job description that we can find and discuss how would I improve the description by including or removing elements that directly lead to overall performance in that role. Well, these are the DSP qualifications. And if we look, the only thing that we can see that it's a qualification related to the work task are 1 year of in-home care services experience. Now, if we observe, right? The other requirements are very generalized and it can go attributed to organizational citizenship behavior. As an example, reliable, energetic, self-motivated, and well-organized. Well, it's a good thing to have, but it cannot be the main thing. So I believe that these requirements are not directed towards the specific job task. I don't believe, however, that qualification number 6 needs to be removed because it's something important to have. But I will say that more information needs to be added for the candidates to know that these are requirements. So things such as able to work with individuals with mental disabilities or physical limitations, and taking responsibility of other members to provide services according to their needs. These are things that needs to be there, right? Because candidates needs to understand that these things are the responsibilities, but also a requirement. So you can be reliable, you can be energetic, you can be self-motivated and well organized, but if you don't understand how to do the task, if you don't understand what you have to do, and also if you don't comply with these requirements and you're not able to comply those, I don't think that in the long run it will be beneficial for the employee or the company. So I would say that going with requirements in the qualifications, such as explaining the job itself, not just as responsibility, but also the requirements as, as what the person needs to have in order to complete this job. So go directed towards a task. And then I believe that that will help more with clarity uh, from the candidate that's applying and also for the organization. Now, chapter 6, which is a little bit is a long one here, but basically there's some counterproductive work behavior that's been going around. We as an professional do an audit of the company's policies and expectations and job duties to see if there's anything that emerges as organizational constraints. Now, we don't have specific data, but what are some of the suspect of some of these constraints and how the company can resolve them? I will say first that without having any specific causes for this counterproductive work behavior, I'm just doing an audit. Maybe we can think about simple stuff. This simple stuff is what about the bad apples, right? And the bad apples are referred to the individuals itself. Some individuals that no matter what the situation, they will always try to lead astray a group of people or the whole organization. Now, one of the characteristics of these individuals are that they lack self-control. So they act a lot on initial impulses and engage in counterproductive behaviors and other actions and take decisions that do not benefit the company or themselves in some cases. Um, I would say that another cause of counter work, counterproductive work behavior, if it influences an environment of injustice or stress. So employees are exposed to stressful situations in the workplace are more likely to involve in negative emotions such as anxiety, anger, and dissatisfaction. Now, individuals high in trait anxiety may respond strongly in negative ways to environmental stressors. Um, all of these emotions in the workplace can be caused by these environmental situational factors, which are abusive supervision, which of course is supervisors abusing from of their power. Workplace incivility, it's not an environment of respect, cautious dignity, not following norms, or maybe having norms and not following them accordingly. and social undermining, which is basically favoritism from the supervisor and management to some employees, having the favorite ones. Um, all of these circumstances have solutions, right? But they depend on majority of the percentage is dependent on the supervisor and the management. The employee plays a part, but it's just more a part of understanding, not of an action. It's more of an understanding. So for abusive supervision, supervisors need to be mindful of the power that they have, right? That they hold. And they need to keep in mind that their decisions or attitudes affect the employees. Understanding this power and understanding that these are individuals, right? And despite positions, despite all kind of factors, they are working for the success of the company. And this is something that can help supervisors reduce abusive supervision, and reducing abuse supervision can create more trust and less stress in this individual. So supervisors need to use their power for good to influence success and to influence positive attitude within the company. Um, Another one, it's workplace incivility, which is the one that we have discussed earlier. This can be reduced if employees see the importance of it. So by this, I mean, if a supervisor implements a norm on employees, but the employee do not see that supervisor going following that norm, then they're not gonna do it, right? Or if they preach courses, be cautious and may have dignity, they're not going to do it. So in this case, I would say supervisors and management need to lead by example. If they want respect from their employees, they need to respect their employees, They need to always keep cautious and respectful attitudes despite the positions in the workplace. Now, another one, which is the last one, social undermining. It's basically treating everyone fair and square. This is what can reduce social undermining and eventually just take it out completely. I know that there are other employees that are more qualified and trained to do this job, but this cannot lead to favoritism, as organizations need to understand that everyone, supervisors and management, need to treat everyone the same way, right? However, this is not related to job task, right? This is not related to just, oh, we're gonna give the same job task to everyone. No, every candidate is qualified to perform individual job tasks according to their skills. This is more of a human social respect factor. So everyone needs to be treated the same because we don't want in the organization for people to feel singled out. And that ends my show. I really hope you like it. And this is just some suggestion on how we can make the organizations and industry a little bit more productive for the employees. And if employees are productive, organizations will be successful. Thank you.